I'm stuck in my job and I feel the need to get away. Speeding down a river or sailing out over the bay. Gonna jump in my boat and go as far as I can get. Out on the water, come on, now we are gonna get wet. Ever don't leave.
G'day and welcome to On the Water for another cracker of a week. We've got a wicked show lined up this week. We're going to check out the crew aboard the Blizzard, the vessel that is going to take us across Drake's Passage to the Antarctic Peninsula. Then we're going to have a look at Deception Island, an active volcano in Antarctic waters. And then to follow it up, we're going to go to the southernmost post office in the world, Port Lockroy. So strap on your life jacket and get set to get wet. G'day and welcome aboard the Blizzard, a 20-metre lift keel schooner, ex-Australia. We are currently in Port Williams, the southernmost town in the world. That's right, On the Water is heading to Antarctica with David Price at the helm and Hannah McKeon as the first mate, and of course a variety of other crew. We're going to go down and we're going to check out icebergs, penguins, seals, killer whales, baleen whales, and a whole variety of wildlife. We are on an expedition like On the Water has never been on before. It is going to be huge. So strap on your life jacket and get set to get cold. With some serious safety briefings and training out of the way, we left land and headed down the Beagle Channel, named after the HMS Beagle that was doing hydrographic surveys in this area. Its most famous passenger, of course, was the eminent scientist, naturalist, and the man who developed the theory of evolution, Charles Darwin. We left the Cape Horn area to cross Drake's Passage. Let's meet the crew.
You do realise that you're going to the highest, coldest, windiest and driest, most inhospitable continent on Earth?
And that's exactly why I'm going. It's a challenge, and whenever somebody says it is the most on this earth, I like to see it, feel it, believe it.
What brings you to Argentina, to Ushuaia, to the bottom of the world to jump aboard the Blizzard?
Well, it was an exercise whether I wanted to buy a yacht and start to do this, and it's either going to turn me on or off, and then probably also I was offered the directorship of this movie.
Personally, what do you expect to get out of the expedition?
It's the enjoyment of doing it was really what I'm looking forward to. The actual enjoyment of doing the thing rather than looking back. Sailing for a start in the difficult conditions. I'm looking forward to that.
What possesses you to jump aboard the Blizzard?
To take part in a great journey to a part of the world that I've wanted to see since I was a little boy. Doing this sort of exercise with a small group and gelling as a bunch of people taking and controlling a sailing boat down and back over 3 or 4 weeks, it puts demands on everybody, and I think that just adds to the dimension of when you finish and you get back and you can have a good beer or a rum and coke, and everybody knows what everybody else has been through and you're sharing that together. That's great.
With the fridge full and we were definitely heading south, there was no way that the food was going to go off due to heat. We've just hit the Antarctic convergence a couple of hours ago. That's where the cold water from Antarctica and the Southern Ocean comes up and meets the warmer air from up north. Pea soup. Fog is the result. As a result of fog, we need to be really careful of icebergs. While we have a radar, sometimes the radar, due to the shape of the iceberg, will not reflect off the berg itself, and therefore the radar won't pick it up. It also won't pick up the smaller chunks of ice, which of course will present a danger to the vessel. Another thing that we're going to be looking for is storm petrels or even snow petrels. Now these are white, stark white little birds that will in fact, they nest on the icebergs. And if we start seeing them flying about, we know that we're within about 10 to 15 miles of iceberg territory. So it's a sharp lookout that we're going to be keeping.
We're just cruising along, ghosting along quite nicely and soaking down to the Antarctic Peninsula at about 5.7 knots. I'll tell you what, it's eerie, but this is beautiful.
We've spoken to the crew. Let's meet the skipper and the first mate.
Hannah McKeon, first mate aboard the Blizzard. What a job.
Oh, it's great, isn't it? It definitely beats the office jobs I've had in my life. I'll stick with this for a while, I reckon.
Now, you are a polar adventurer, having trekked from the edge of the Antarctic continent to the South Pole and in fact hold a record.
I do, yeah, I've done it twice in fact, but yeah, the last time I did it solo, and I managed to be the fastest person ever to ski from the coast of Antarctica to the South Pole, so that was cool, yeah.
So sailing in Antarctic waters just isn't enough for you?
Oh no, look, you know, this wet stuff's all right, but the further inland you go, the drier it gets, and that suits me just fine and dandy.
David Price, skipper and master of the Blizzard. Another expedition down south, mate. What drives you to such insanity?
Well, I don't know. What else would you do, you know? Here we are, we're about halfway across Drake's Passage. We're deep in the convergence zone, so lots of fog. Can't see very much, and we're just sort of drifting south. All going pretty well at the moment.
What sort of characteristics does the Blizzard have?
Well, she's a 20-metre aluminium expedition yacht specifically set up for high-latitude expeditions. So she's a sturdy little ship. She's got lots of insulation to keep her warm, bit of a heater to keep the condensation away, lots of storage space for our toys so we can have a bit of fun when we get down there, and equipment. Lots of food, because we might be out here for quite some time. Some of our expeditions, you know, a couple of months long. So, yeah, we need everything on board that we're going to rely on. Main engine with an alternator on it. We've got the generator, 240. It also does 12 volt. We've got the wind generator, which is just fantastic. Mind you, not so good in days like today, when there's not so much breeze. But and then the solar panel. So, real diversity of power sources. Keeping the power in the batteries in Antarctica is a real challenge, because the cold reduces their ability to accept charge. So we're always pretty careful how we use the charge, and we have to be careful to top them up all the time. But we're trying to move from diesel generation through to, you know, clean energy sources such as wind and solar too. And we're pretty conscious, being in such a pristine environment, you know, we want to really minimise our impact on it.
Now, of course, we could all be sailing down on a Russian icebreaker, but aboard a 20-metre yacht just seems that much more exciting. What type of people do you find are coming on board these expeditions?
Oh, it's a real mix, but it's people who are adventurers at heart. Not necessarily yachties, some climbers, some people who are just really well-heeled travellers who want to see Antarctica in a more intimate way than you know, getting on a ship. We'll spend a lot of time at different places rather than having a rushed landing for an hour with 100 people. You know, there'll be 10 of us in a little cove, and we might spend a day or so there. We really have time to relax and enjoy the wildlife.
Now, of course, you are also very conscious about minimisation of our imprint there. In fact, you made us bleach our shoes and all our footwear prior to boarding the vessel.
Yeah, absolutely. It's because it's such a pristine wilderness, it would be terrible to be the person who destroyed it. You know, it'd only take a little thing, you know, introduce some sort of fungus off the bottom of your shoes that happened to just take off in Antarctica and decimate the wildlife down here.
You certainly run a very tight ship. The procedures are of the utmost importance.
Absolutely. You know, I think we spent probably 3 days, first 3 days of this expedition, just going through procedures and how the boat runs and what we'd do in different scenarios. But also know that, you know, tomorrow, you know, if we get a gale or we run into certain different scenarios that challenge us, all that preparation, it'll put us in good position to start with, but it'll still be a challenge. And yeah, Antarctica can be a very challenging environment.
After the break, we're going to check out an active volcano, Deception Island, Antarctica. So stick around.